Welcome back, everybody. Diva Brown off today. Sid Sixero filling in on the entertainment scene. Hit it, Sidster.
And you would a little bit. Congratulations to Britney Spears. 5 months after being released from her 13-year conservatorship, she announced she is expecting, with fiancé Sam Asghari, expecting their first child together. Third child overall, Ren?
Yeah.
Third child overall.
She has 2 boys.
Got engaged in September. This continues a wild year and a bit for Britney. Her conservatorship testimony back in 2021. In it, she mentioned, and some people have forgotten about this, it's worth bringing up again. She mentioned intentions to settle down and have more children. Her conservatorship included a contraception clause and barred her from having kids.
Wow.
This is how insane that story was on Britney's side.
To control of her own body.
At the time, she said, quote, "I have an IUD inside of me so I don't get pregnant. They don't want me to have children." So now that that situation's been resolved, thankfully, I can't believe that's legal.
This is like a Handmaid's Tale nightmare.
Yes.
Honestly. And also the fact that she's been able to, do you know how hard it is to get pregnant? Like at the age of 40, I think she's 40 as it is. She's defying all odds, so I am so happy for her. It is a miracle for a million reasons.
So we wish her all the best. She's been through a ton, as we all know. And hopefully her dad, who's an absolute monster, eats it one day legally. I'm looking forward to that day. Because he's been living fat for a long time, that creep.
And
I hope
a
he
lot
gets
of the
his.
lawyers, yeah.
Honestly, that's ridiculous. All right, let's move on here. Tyra Banks in the news. Fans have noticed she deactivated her Twitter account. Did you see this?
I saw that, yeah.
Although it's not clear why, insider sources say she deleted it around the same time she received harsh criticism about America's Next Top Model. The show started airing on Amazon Prime during the pandemic. The modeling show has been condemned by many for the countless times Tyra and producers crossed the line with photo shoot ideas and treatment of contestants. Some contestants called the show, quote, psychological warfare, end quote. Fans have also been coming after Tyra, blaming her for Dancing with the Stars moving from ABC to Disney Plus next season. Tyra was brought on for season 29 to change things up. Tom Bergeron and Erin Andrews were the hosts, if you'll remember. But her days as a host may also be numbered here. Producers are believed to be looking at a, quote, A-list celebrity to replace Tyra, who also serves as the show's executive producer. So things are a little sticky on Dancing with the Stars.
Tyra becoming a tyrant. I'm going to tell you this. If you look back at a lot of shows back in the day, they don't age well. Okay, so that's one thing in terms of America's Next Top Model. But in terms of her hosting gig right now, creating a toxic workplace environment, this is the same person who went on her daily talk show, Tyra used to have a talk show, and talk about Naomi Campbell. Remember all that? The rivalry, how her body was picked apart, how she would proudly wear Spanx. Okay, so all of that. But for her to then create a toxic atmosphere, if it's true, at this day and age where she should know better, it's a reckoning. But in terms of the old America's Next Top Model, that's unfortunately what the show. It was a reflection of the time then,
I didn't watch it enough. Do they do that a lot on that show?
Yes, they're scrutinizing, and she's like, listen, you want to be a model? This is what it takes. It's sort of this is where you start paying. If you want fame, it's that sort of thing. But she would get rid of a lot of the judges when she had say, if she didn't like the chemistry, which also happens in the business. But now you wonder who is telling the truth or is somewhere in the middle.
There's a lot going on here with Tyra.
There's a lot.
I didn't watch I didn't watch that show enough. I watched a lot of Dancing with the Stars, okay? Now, Erin Andrews, I liked Erin Andrews. Tom Bergeron was kind of a cheeseball, but he was like a host. He was a typical host. I thought Tyra Banks was one of the worst TV hosts I've ever seen in my life. Here was my biggest issue. Any mistake she'd make on air, she'd blame someone backstage.
Like on air?
Oh, often. Prompter flubs, you name it. I didn't expect this. This ran too quick. That's a window into someone's professional soul there.
To be fair, it's live. It's live as opposed to America's Next Top Model.
Okay, stop screwing up, and when you do, it's fine, but take ownership of it.
Okay.
I got a really bad vibe from Tyra hosting that show. That show was light. That show has a very specific vibe to it, and it was all, like she would take time in the show to walk out like she was on a runway.
Right.
Who was it about? The dancers, the contestants, the judges?
Right.
Who was it about?
It was too narcissistic.
And she was executive producer. That's my other big issue. When you make yourself host, when you're the boss, that's bad news. I've seen that in this industry. Not going to mention names. I've seen it. Never ends well. Ever.
So you're saying get rid of her as host?
I was not impressed. That's as far as I'll go with it. I can go on off air. I can go another 10 minutes.
That's a hot take.
But on air, that's all I can say about Tyra Banks. Finally, speaking of hosts and judges, Simon Cowell, done with face fillers. We have a before and after here. Is the before on the right?
I think
yeah, I think it is.
with the black backdrop.
Because the guy on the left I hardly
white.
recognize. That's Simon Cowell on the right that I remember. Is that what happened to Simon Cowell with face fillers? Seriously?
I think the black backdrop is him without Botox now. And on the right, the white backdrop is when he had it. So he's saying he was unrecognizable when he looked at photos of himself to the point where his son was hysterically laughing. And he said all of Hollywood does this. But when he couldn't even recognize himself and his child was laughing, he's like, that's it. And he's chosen to go Botox free. And I think, first of all, as a man who's known for being an alpha male, very opinionated, I think it's kind of refreshing to hear him talk about the pressures of having to maintain a certain
There are
ideal.
a lot of pressures. There are a lot of pressures.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I think it's great that he could show you don't have to, and you can have your face age gracefully, and that's also a choice that should be deemed perfectly fine
But this
to
is
have wrinkles.
This is what bothers me about Hollywood. Like, being a huge, successful host and producer isn't enough. Is that not enough? Simon Cowell's fine.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting. All right, all the best to Simon going forward.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, again, a big day here in this country. 42 years ago today, Terry Fox started the Marathon of Hope.